So today I'm going to show you how I make a taco pizza. Okay, so the first step is we need to make our crust. For this, we are going to need 1.5 cups of hot water, some yeast, sugar, olive oil, flour, mesa flour, cumin, salt, and pepper. Then we have a little bit of extra mesa flour when we get ready to roll it out a little bit, and we have some fresh cilantro. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our yeast and our sugar to the hot water and let it proof. It's going to take about 5 minutes. We're going to give it a little stir. Then we're going to set it aside. And we'll know that's ready when it becomes foamy. Next, we're going to take our flour, mesa flour, cumin, salt, black pepper, cilantro, and the oil. Put it in the mixer. Put the hook attachment on it. And I like to use the slowest speed to mix it up. We want to get all the dry ingredients well incorporated. So while we wait on the yeast to proof and this mixes, we're going to take a little break and we'll be back when we're ready for the next step. Okay, so our yeast looks like it's ready. It's got a nice foamy head on it. We're going to add that to our flour mixture. Put it all in here and make sure we scrape out your measuring cup. You want to get every bit of that rising power out of there. Okay, we're going to lift the bowl. We're going to put it on low and let it mix until it starts to become a solid ball. And then we're going to let it mix for an additional 5 minutes or until the dough pulls away from the sides of the bowl. We'll be back when the dough is ready. Okay, so as you can see, it has pulled away from the sides of the bowl. So we're going to take the hook off. Now you are going to find that this is going to maybe a little bit sticky. So just put a little bit of the flour on your fingers. We're going to take a dough scraper and scrape it out onto our floured surface. Sprinkle a little on the top. Okay, now we're going to knead this by hand just a little bit. Get sticky, put a little bit more flour on it. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I plan on making personal pizzas, and I'm going to divide this into 6 pieces. So we're going to cut it in half, cut this half into 3 pieces, and we'll cut this half into 3 pieces. Flour on our hands. We're going to take these and we're going to roll them up into nice little balls, pinching the bottom, and then we're going to put them on a greased cookie sheet to rest. It's really not that difficult. You'll be amazed how well they taste. Pat them down just a little bit, and we're going to coat them with a little bit of cooking spray just so they won't dry out and crust over. Then we're going to take a piece of plastic wrap and loosely cover them, and we're going to let it rest for about 15-20 minutes so they can proof up a little bit. And then when we get to that stage, I'll be back to show you the next step. Okay, so our dough has risen by the yeast. We've got a little bit of the corn flour on our surface, and we're going to put some on the top, spread it around, flip it over, get a nice coating so the rolling pin doesn't stick to it. And we're going to roll it out to about an 8-inch circle because we're going to make these in cake pan. That way they're the perfect personal size. So you want to roll it out about 1/8 of an inch, and if it starts sticking like that and lifting up, put a little bit more flour on it, and then flip it over, drag it through your flour to coat it well, and just keep rolling it out till you get to the size that you want. Okay, so we have our cake pan that we've coated with our non-stick spray, and we're going to lift our crust up, just lay it over, and we're going to put it in there, and we're just going to push it around the edges and form our crust. We want a little bit of a lip to push it up the sides of the pan. It looks fairly well. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to spray it with a non-cooked spray and do this other one. A little bit of flour. Drop it in, rest it on the top. Push it out. Roll or two. Remember, this is a rolling pin, not a pressing pin, so let the weight of the rolling pin do the work. Now if it starts to get a little lopsided, where it's narrower at, put your pin on it and just kind of rotate it around like this, and it'll bring that edge out to match. Just roll it. Flip it over. And we're going to put it in our pan. Now we have our oven set at 425 degrees, and we're going to bake these without any toppings on them for about 5 minutes. This will help get the bottom a little crisper, more like a taco shell. And as a side benefit, we can freeze some of these. Try this one. We're going to put it on a cookie sheet just so it's easier to handle. We're going to put it in the oven. We'll be back in about 5 minutes when they're ready. So the next step is going to be making the sauce. We're going to take a half a cup of our taco sauce that we made in the last show, and we're going to take a tablespoon of cornstarch. We're going to mix them together really well, get all the lumps mixed out before we add any heat, because if you add cornstarch to a hot liquid, it's going to do nothing but clump. So we are going to add our heat. We just want medium-low heat. I'm just going to mix it until we get all those lumps out, and then we're going to add our salsa to it. Sure you scrape all of this out. Okay, so we're going to stir this up and get it mixed really well, and we're just going to let it cook for about 5 or 10 minutes until it gets a little bit thick. I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit because I do want it to just start to boil, and then once it boils, I'll reduce the heat. So we're going to let this cook, and when it gets there, we'll be back. Okay, so our sauce is done. It's pretty nice and thick. And our crusts came out of the oven. They're half baked. And we're going to take sauce, about a quarter cup, put it on the bottom here. Maybe a little bit more so we get it covered nice and even. Do this other one. Okay, and then we have some taco beef that I made using Ta and Da's seasoning mix. We're just going to put that on there and spread it out. Don't have to be fancy or perfect. You know, just however you want. If you want more meat than this, feel free to do that. And we're going to sprinkle some cheese. I'm using a mixture of mild and sharp cheddar, but you could use a taco blend or just whatever cheese you have on hand. Now the other crusts I did bake off, and I put them in a Ziploc bag, gallon size, and I stuck them in the freezer. So next time I want a taco pizza, all I have to do is pull them out and make it. And if I wanted to, I could go ahead and put the toppings on them and freeze it. And then when I'm ready for it, just pull it out, throw it in the oven, and it's good to go, just like a store-bought pizza, but taco. Okay, so I'm going to add a few tomatoes and some green onions and some black olives on this one. You know, whatever taco toppings you like is what you can put on this. Looks pretty good. I'm going to throw these back in the oven for about another 5 to 10 minutes until the cheese is all melted and the crust has a nice brown edge to it. And when they're done, I'll bring you back to show you the next step. Pull these out of the oven, and this is what we have. Don't they look good? They're really pretty hot, so we're going to wait a few minutes. When they're cool, I'll bring you back and we'll cut into them. Okay, so they've had time to cool. Before we actually cut into them, though, we're going to take and top them with some lettuce. Get kind of sloppy here because everybody knows a taco is sloppy. If you wanted other toppings on here, you could do that now. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one. So I've cut this into 4 pieces since it's such a small pizza. Cut yours into how many ever you want. Now on each piece, I've got some sour cream in a piping bag just to make it pretty. Do it however you want if you just want to do dollops. And some of our taco sauce, put that on top. And that's how we do it. Now let's give this a try. Bit messy. It's really good. You guys need to give it a try. We'll see you next time.